Okay. So in the last session, we discussed about cross-currency payments. We completed configuration and we tested transactions part also, where we created invoice in USD and we processed the payment in INR. To support that transaction part, we did these setups. And before cross-currency payments, okay, before cross-currency payments, we tested third-party payments. Okay, we tested third-party payments where we'll have invoice with one supplier and we'll make the payment to another party, that only we call as third-party payments. To implement that solution, we did the setups like we created one supplier, a new supplier to process third-party payments, and we create a relationship between standard supplier and the third-party supplier, and we created invoice with the Fusion supplier too, and we just remitted the payment to Fusion collection agency. So that means, okay, already we're done with this, but I want to add one more point to this same. So for that reason, just I'm going to take you through the invoice workbench, invoice creation once again. So when you create invoice, okay, anyway, already we created invoice, right? Fine. But what we did is, when you are creating invoice, system is defaulting remit to supplier address. Reason, our standard supplier level we selected as a third party, and Fusion collection agency we selected a third party and we set default as a same supplier, same third party. That is the reason system is defaulting. But if you want to change at the time of invoice creation, instead of remitting the payment to Fusion collection agency, if you want to remit the payment to another party, another third party, in that case there should be an option to change remit to supplier at invoice creation time or payment creation time. Okay, to support this kind of functionality, we have two more setups which you can perform in the system. Okay, those are nothing but, you can, if you want to override the third party, okay, selection here, as of now system is selecting by default because we have only one and we selected as a default. And if you want to override at the time of invoice creation, what you can do is you have to set invoice options. Okay, so invoice creation time, say for example you are selecting third party as ABC, but by the time of payment you want to change to another third party. In that case, if you want to change at payment time, you have to set payment options. That means we have a flexibility to change the third party selection, invoice creation time or payment creation time. Okay, and both are in two cases, but primarily system will be taking payment option, payment time, whatever you select will be remitting the payment to that party only. Okay, now just quickly we'll go and see those two options, then we'll test this one more transaction, one more invoice, and the payment will create and we'll see the same. So go to invoice options, and click on overview, open the implementation project, search for invoice options. The actual task name is manage invoice options. Click on manage invoice options, click on go to task icon. In invoice options we have a control which allows us to override the third party supplier at invoice creation. Just enable the checkbox. So the option name is allow remit to supplier override for third party payments. If you enable the checkbox, invoice creation time, you can change the third party selection. Save and close. And if you want to change third party selection at payment time also, you can go to the payment options. Earlier when we were testing, I just forgot to include this point. Now I am adding. So this is a checkbox we have to enable. allow pay override for third party payments. Enable it and say save and close. Click on done. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to create invoice against the Fusion supplier that will be in USD, right? And we'll be making the payment also in USD. But in between, what we did is, after testing this functionality, we tested cross currency payments also. For cross currency payments purpose, for this supplier, for Fusion supplier, we given payment currency as INR, right? Invoice currency we selected USD, payment currency we selected INR. Now when you create invoice with Fusion supplier 2, system will be identifying invoice currency is USD and payment currency is INR. But when you are trying to make the payment to this collection agency, okay, when you're trying to make the payment to this collection agency, the payment currency would be USD. That will conflict. So for that reason, to test this functionality, just go to this supplier and change payment currency also to USD only. Then behalf of Fusion supplier 2, when you are making the payment to Fusion collection agency, there won't be any issue. Otherwise it will conflict, you don't find that invoice also. Let's go and do it. This setup we did in case of when we are testing cross currency payments. So anyway, that we tested. Now you can change. Okay, just go to suppliers, say manage suppliers, our supplier name is Fusion supplier 2. Click on edit, go to sites. For this supplier, by default we just selected payment currency as USD, but just for the to test the functionality called as cross currency payment, now you can change to USD. Save and close. Fine. We're done with all the setups. What changes need to be done? Changes and setups. Now we'll create invoice and we'll make the payment. In the two activities, we'll see whether system is going to allow us to change the third party or not. Go to invoice workbench. Create invoice. Click on this drop down, select your business unit. Supplier is Fusion supplier 2. Invoice number 1. So I'm going to enter $20,000. The same amount you can enter line level. Now last time when we tested this functionality, system is defaulting because we didn't set any override option. We didn't enable that override, so that is system is defaulting. Now if you go and see here, go to invoice actions, go to invoice actions, select manage installments. Here the field will be open. Okay, we already selected in the last time when we tested in the previous session, we selected Fusion collection agency as a default supplier. Yes, it is defaulting. Again we got option to override. Okay, again, just if you want to, if you have another supplier to change, you can change it. Okay, this is how just you can override. Fine. So if you want to change the supplier, remit to supplier, you can change. Otherwise, you can just proceed with the same supplier. Then now you can just complete the standard, the actions, validation, accounting, validated, and to create accounting and transfer to general ledger. Nothing but post to ledger. Done. So now this invoice is kind of third party payment, so this option will get disabled. For third party payments, you cannot do as a painful, since the invoice supplier is one and the remit to supplier is different. Save and close. You can process this invoice for payment from payment process request or individual payment action. I mean to say payment workbench. Go to payments. And say create payment. Select your business unit. And just search for your supplier. Fusion supplier 2. Okay. Here see this field is opening. It's not defaulting. Okay, earlier when we tested it was just defaulting. Okay, we didn't enable allow override to third party payments. Okay, we didn't enable in the payment options, so that is the reason it was defaulting earlier. Now also it is defaulting, but you can override. That option is available. That's it. The rest of process remains same. You can select your bank account. Select payment process profile. Select payment document. Select the invoice. Invoice we created with the number 1. This is the one we created. Select, say apply, say OK. Then you can say save and close. So this is all about third party payments with override privileges. Earlier we discussed without setting that overrides at invoice creation and payment creation. Now we tested by setting override options controls so that the user can override at the time of invoice or payment creation. That's all. Okay. So we're done with this. Anyway, we mark it as a completed. Now invoice approval configuration testing, we'll see this later. So for now just I'm marking it as a pending. Okay, so along with this we have another concept also, withholding tax. These two we'll see later. Now we'll continue with the next concept, security profile configuration testing. Okay, so it's equal to MOAC when you compare with the EBS. Okay, other side I'll write what is the meaning of MOAC. Right, we'll see this. Fine. So this is when you compare with here EBS, it's MOAC. MOAC stands for multi-org access control. MOAC, we call it as MOAC. The same, you can call it as security profile concept also. Okay, what is the use of this MOAC? So So if you have a requirement, as per EBS, I'm going to talk about EBS. EBS means more I'm preferring release 12 because this feature is not available in 11i version. In EBS 11i we don't see this MOAC. Oracle introduced this functionality, this feature in release 12 only. Okay, when I talk about EBS, by default, based on the configuration, user can have access to only one operating from one responsibility. That I mean to say subledger related responsibilities. Sorry. Okay, user can have access to one operating net from one responsibility. From single responsibility, by default, user can have access to only one operating net in EBS. But if say there is one user who need access to 10 operating nets, so in that case, in EBS, what we have to do is, okay, take in 11i. In the 11i, you have to create 10 responsibilities. For each responsibility, you have to assign separate operating unit. Then finally, the 10 responsibilities you have to assign to that user. So from each responsibility, user can have access to only one operating unit. But at release 12, what Oracle did is they introduced this MOAC, multi-arc access control. With this, what we can do is we can group the multiple operating units. Finance point of view operating units, and other HRMS point of view HR organizations, SCM point of view inventory organizations. But when you talk about finance, primarily operating units. So by using this MOAC or say security profile, we can group multiple multiple operating units. That multiple operating units you can assign to single responsibility. That means user can have access to multiple operating units from single responsibility. Okay, and again we have two security profiles in EBS in R12. One is just security profile. The second one is global security profile. Okay, one is security profile, the second one is global security profile. With a security profile or global security profile, only the point is we can group the operating nets. By using the security profile or global security profile, we can group the operating nets. The difference is, say for example, you have one business group. Say you have two business groups. Let me take this example. We have two business groups. Under each business group, I have a two operating units. We know multi-org structure in EBS. Of course, directly we are not going to have a OUs under business group, but to understand this concept, I am taking this example. Say you have one BZ, one for BZ1, you have a two operating units. Under BZ2, you have two operating units. Means total you have four. Now the user requirement is user want to access two operating units which are under BZ1. That means you have to group those two operating units to give access to so and so user through responsibility. In that case, to group the operating units which are under one BZ, you can use the security profile. Now other user require access to three operating units. Which operating units? From BZ1, two operating units. From BZ2, one operating unit. That means user need access to three operating units which are under different BZs. I'm talking about R12. Okay, so user need access to three operating units which are under two different BZs. In that case, you cannot use security profile to group the OUs which are under different BZs. To group the multiple OUs which are under different BZs, we have to use the global security profile. By using the global security profile, you can group the operating units which are under different BZs. But by using the security profile, you can group the OUs which are under same BZ. This is a functionality we have in EBS. The same functionality we have in now in Fusion also, but we don't have these two different profiles, security profile and a global security profile. Just two functionalities you can achieve by using the security profile in the Fusion. In R12, if you see, we have a security profile and a global security profile. Okay, the functionality, the purpose is to group the OUs which are under same BZ. Here, to group the OUs which are under different BZs, will be using the global security profile. But in Fusion, you don't see any global security profile. With the security profile only, you can group the OUs which are belongs to one legislative data group or multiple legislative data groups, or there is no restriction within our system how many BUs we have. All the BUs you can group. There is no specification. Those are belongs to which enterprise unit. Okay, you no need to consider. Simply by using the security profile you can group the multiple BUs irrespective of it belongs to which enterprise or which legislated data group or which some other classification or uh, I mean it's kind of differentiation. Okay, the simple point is by using this MOAC we are going to group multiple BUs. But in case of EBS, what we are doing is we are creating the security profile. Security profile we are assigning to, okay, in EBS, security or global security profile, whatever. In EBS, we are creating and we are assigning to responsibility. Okay, so we are assigning. But in Fusion, what we do is we'll create the security profile. Against the security profile, we'll create the data role. The data roles already we discussed. Data roles are equal to responsibilities. Fusion data role is equal to EBS responsibility. The data role will assign. See here. In EBS, we'll create the security profile. The security profile will assign to responsibility by using MO security profile option. Then finally, this will assign to user. This is what we are doing in EBS. But Fusion, what we do is we'll create the security profile. Sorry. Security profile. Based on this security profile, we'll create the data roles. We'll create the data roles. This data role will assign to user. That's it. In case of EBS, user can have access to multiple operating units through responsibility. But in Fusion, user can have access to multiple operating units which are there in the security profile with the help of whatever the data role we are assigning to the user. It's very simple. As per EBS definition is, okay, to access multiple operating units from single responsibility, we can use MOAC or security profile concept. But in Fusion definition is to access multiple BGs from single user. Okay, to access multiple BGs from single user. Okay, we can access. I mean, multiple BUs. I'm sorry, not BGs and all. Multiple BUs we can access. Okay, from one data role with the help of security profile, or you can call it as MOAC. Now we are going to test the same. And in EBS, that is only one possibility. By using MOAC only, you can access to multiple BUs. Sorry, multiple operating units. Within release 12, only the possibility is if user wants to access multiple OUs from single responsibility, the feature which is supported is MOAC. But Fusion, you have two here to understand. So one is if one user wants to access multiple BUs from single role, one role, that is nothing but data role. One option is you have a reference data set. With the help of reference data set, we can decide the user can access how many business units from respective roles which we assign. The other option is definitely MOAC only. Two options we have. Okay, now by default if you go to your user, so I'll go to the invoice workbench. I'll go to the invoice creation page. This invoice creation screen. Here see, I'll just click on this drop down. I can see n number of business units. How we are able to see? For our user, we assign data roles which are related to our BC only. Oh, sorry, our BU only, right? We assigned only Fusion US business unit data roles to this user, but still we are able to see all these business units. How we are able to see? The reason is this reference data set. I'll show you where the catch. Just cancel this. Go to your implementation project, so setup and maintenance. Click on implementation project, click on overview, open this project, and here search for manage business units. Go to this task, business unit, I guess, not units, manage business unit. Yep. So click on this task and click on go to task icon. And find your business unit. Select, click on edit. Fine. If you go to your business unit definition, you can see you selected default set. Default set is nothing but reference data set. You selected reference data set as a common set. The description is common set. So for your business unit, you selected default set as a common set. So that means the meaning is you grouped your business unit into common set. The same way, so let me take simple example. I have BU1, BU2, BU3, BU4 and BU5. Now this. So I'm creating the BU1. Take simple example. I'm creating the BU1. I selected reference data set. Default set is nothing but reference data set only. I selected as a common set. Here you can see the actual code they given as common. The description is common set. So I'll say when I'm creating the BU1, I select common set. Sorry. Common set. And when I'm creating the BU3 also I selected common set. At the time of BU5 creation also say I selected common set. Okay. Now what happens is you grouped three BUs into one set, that is common set. Now if I'll go to the user, I'll assign BU5 related data roles to user 1. Okay, I'll just only say for example payables manager BU5, that is a data role, right? We call it as data role. Payables manager or payables specialist or payables supervisor. Payables manager BU5, the payables manager plus BU combination we are calling as data role. Okay, payables manager BU5 data role I will assign to one user. Once you create BU, system will create, say for example we have a payables manager. Automatically system will be adding the BU to job role, right? That just I'm taking as a BU5. One system will add this BU to that job role. This combination we call as data role. Say this data role I am assigning to user 1. Say ABC user. Now when I access to the system as ABC user, I should have access to only BU5, but by default this BU5 is part of common set. Okay, within the common set we assign BU1 and BU3 also common set. That means you should understand here, through ABC user you have access to common set because the common set is selected into BU5 definition. That means you should not think you have just access to BU5, you have access to common set. Within the common set, okay, we assigned these three BUs to the same common set. That means when you, as ABC user, when you have access to common set, you will be getting access to these three BUs, BU1, BU3 and BU5. Okay, that is the logic here. That means now we used at the time of BU creation common set. So because we use this common set, the same common set is used by n number of BUs. Which are those BUs means you can see here all those BUs. That means now in current environment also, we from this user, from this Fusion user, you have access to common set. So how many BUs are assigned to that common set? All the BUs you can access from here. If you want to restrict the access to only your BU for your user, what you have to do is, before creating the business unit, create reference data set as a something like reference data set for BU1, reference data set for BU2. Create like this. When you are creating the BU1, instead of selecting the common set, select this reference data set. When you are creating the, say for example, BU3, instead of selecting common set, select reference data set which you created for BU3. Now if you assign this data role, now if you assign the current scenario, if you assign this data role to user, you are accessing through ABC user for this BU creation time, whatever the reference data set you are selected, you will be accessing to that only. So through ABC user, you will be accessing to this reference data set. To this reference data set, how many BUs are assigned? Only one BU. That means from this user, you can have access to only this BU. Your requirement is, okay, or else the same reference data set you selected for BU2 also. Okay, you selected for BU2. I'll just keep the common name, reference data set A. Okay, when you are creating the BU1 and BU2, you selected same reference data set. Now, so what system will do is, say for example, you created the BU1 and BU2. Now system created data role called as payables manager BU1. Payables manager BU1, this is the data role, but actual BU is BU1. I mean the BU is BU1. So that means in the BU1, what reference data set you have? Reference data set for A. This is the reference data set name you have. Now if you are accessing ABC, okay, as ABC user, if you are accessing the system, within this, what is the reference data set you have, you will be accessing to that. That means as ABC user, will be having access to RTS for A, that is the reference data set name. To the same reference data set, how many BUs are assigned? Two BUs are assigned, BU1 and BU2. Okay, that means when you access to this reference data set, that reference data set is mapped with how many BUs you can get access. In the current scenario, you can access as ABC user to two BUs, BU1 and BU2, because those two are used the same reference data set. So this is the point we have to understand. Now in the current case, we use the common set in our BU definition time. The same common set is already used in how many BUs definition? All the BUs, that means from Fusion user you are accessing to common set. So within the common set, how many BUs are assigned? All the BUs you can see from here. Okay, we didn't create any separate rule. We used a common set, means these all BUs are grouped into the same common set. So that is the reason directly you are able to access to all these BUs. This is the concept to understand. Okay, so this is how you can just group the BUs and you can give the access by using the reference data set. Other option anyway, we have equal to EBS security profile. Any question on this, please? And one more point, once you select the reference data set at the time of BU creation, you cannot override it. You cannot override. Only you can override with the security profile only. Okay, So based on how you want to manage, accordingly how to create how many reference data sets you require, or else all views you want to take into a common set, which will facilitate you system configuration easy. Later you may create the security profile as per business requirement, however you create in EBS. So this is a point to understand. Now the point is, user will have access to business units based on reference data set what we are selecting at BU definition time. That is the final point what I want to give you. And this is the one way how we can control how you can manage the BU's access. One point is with reference data set. Other concept is security profile. Anyway, that we'll be discussing. Before we get into that, you should understand this point. Any questions on this, please?
Sir, good morning. Rajendra here.
Yeah, Rajendra.
Sir, assume that we have two users, and now for the second user, I want to give access to BU1 and as well as BU5. And in that way, like how we are going to manage it?
You have two users.
Okay. For the second user, I wanted to give access to BU1 and BU5.
One second. You have user 1 and user 2. Tell me.
For user 1, we have access to BU1 and BU2.
BU1 and 2.
Which shares same data set.
User 1, BU1 and 2.
BU2.
Yeah.
Which shares same data set.
Yeah, fine. This is your requirement. Then what else? Tell me. I'll talk about it.
And for user 2, I want to give access to BU1 and BU5.
User 2.
I want to give access to BU1 and BU5.
Okay, fine. That's all right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you don't mind, you can mute from your side. I'll be answering. Sorry. So this is your requirement. Now, so if you want to give this kind of access, what you can do is you can create one reference data set. I'll create reference data set as a 1. Okay. When I'm going to create BU1 and BU2, I can select reference data set as 1. Okay, reference data set as 1. And whenever I assign BU2 related data roles or BU1 related data roles to that user, automatically that user will have access to these two BUs, because these two BUs are grouped into this one reference data set. Okay, your requirement is just you want to give for user 1 these two BUs. Okay, in that case, okay, fine. In that case, what you can do is you can go with this one, but if here it will be conflicting. In that case, what you can do is you just go with the simple approach. Create reference data set for BU1 and reference data set for BU2. When you are creating the BU1, select this reference data set, and when you are creating BU2, select when you are creating the BU2, select this reference data set. Now you can assign BU1 and BU2 roles to this user. Then that's how you can access. But if a single role you want to access to this multiple BUs, these two BUs, in that case, create one reference data set as a BU1 and BU2 reference data set. And when you are creating the BU1 and 2, use the same reference data set, so that if you assign the role called as BU1 related data role or BU2 related data roles to this user, automatically user will have access to those two BUs. You don't need to assign separately two BUs related data roles to user, because BU1 and BU2 are grouped into this reference data set only. Okay, this is how you can do. And when you talk about this functionality, so if you go with this approach, here it will conflict. To satisfy this requirement, what you have to do is you have to create, because you have a user to want to give BU1 and BU5. For that reason, so this approach, if this is your requirement, you can go with this, but your requirement is both, you have to create reference data set separately. Reference data set for BU2 and create reference data set for BU5. Now, when you are creating the BU1, select this reference data set. When you are creating BU2, select this reference data set. When you are creating BU5, you select different reference data set. Now, for this user, if you want to assign BU1 and BU2, okay, you have to select this two BUs related data roles so that you will be accessing this two. And when you are going to deal with the user 2, again this BU1 related data roles as well as BU5 related data roles you have to select. Otherwise, you can do one thing. You can go with the only one reference data set, and that reference data set used for these three BUs, BU1, BU2, BU3, and that's how just you can do it. And finally, access point of view, for user 1 you want to give access to BU1 and BU2, and user 2 BU1 and BU5. This you can manage by using the security profile. Okay, the solution available in two ways. One is common set. With the common set you can manage as per your requirement. With the common set defining all these, it will conflict. If you think without any issues, you can manage this kind of access privileges through security profile. Okay, this is a point for your question. If you have any clarification, if you need any clarification, please let me know.
It's fine, sir. Thank you.
Yep, fine. So that's what. See, generally you can go with for each BU separately one reference data set, so that if you assign that BU roles to specific user, that user can have access to only that BU. If you use the common reference data set for 3-4 BUs, even if you assign one BU related roles to that one user, the user will have access to the reference data set what you assign to that BU, not to direct BU access. Within that reference data set, how many BUs are mapped, for all those BUs user will be able to access. This point you have to understand. Based on that, how you have to manage the reference data sets you have to create. Or else, take simple example, you created only one reference data set, or else you are using the common reference data set. Anyway, you don't need to worry about security. The security access and all you can just manage by using this uh, security profile. Okay, you can override this reference data set security by using security profile. Okay, security profile will take the preference priority. Okay, this is a point to understand this reference data set concept, at the same time security profile. If you have any questions on this, please let me know. Okay, if no questions, we'll proceed with the security profile definition. We'll understand how the MOAC concept can be handled here. Two solutions, two ways we can handle this BU's access from single user. I mean to say their EBS responsibility here roles. One is reference data set, second option is security profile, nothing but MOAC. Any questions on this? Okay, if you have any point like I didn't understand also, that also you can tell me, I'll try once again. Is it clear? At least if it is okay, if you got the point, means at least you can say that at least one or two participants.
Yeah, Lakshman.
It's fine, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Lakshman,
Yeah.
how does the data look on the table level?
Who's talking this point? Venkat.
Lakshman, this is when. Yes.
Yeah, Venkat. See, if you want to see the data under, I'll show you in the on-premise. In the cloud, you cannot see directly. You cannot connect that database connectivity with it, Toad and something else. But you can see the data how it is there in the database from BA
Okay.
reports preparation time. I'll show you at the
Okay.
time of BA reports. I'll take you through the basic BA report definition also, which is somewhat some technical, but we'll go through
Okay.
basic report definition. At that time, I'll show you. And other point is I plan to show you in the on-premise environment how to connect the data, and we'll query and we'll see so that we can understand the tables and all how it looks. Okay, I'll take
Okay.
you through that. I have an agenda. I'll show you.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll the same point I mentioned in the course content also, querying the data from
Okay.
database, because in the
Okay.
cloud directly you don't have access. So that's the reason I mentioned a separate point to highlight it. I'll take care of it. Any other any questions on this concept? Okay, hope it is clear to everyone. If not, let me know now or later. Or else you can give me a call also after this session if you are not interested to ask in this class. Okay, fine, done. Now we'll get into this security profile concept, MOAC. So what are the setups involved? It's more or less equal to EBS setups only. Okay, first here say create, say organization security profile, then say create organization data role. So in EBS what we'll do, we'll create security profile. That security profile will assign to responsibility. Okay, create organization security profile is equal to security or global security profile definition in EBS. In EBS second step is the security or global security profile we have to assign to responsibility. That task is equal to this task. Okay, create organization data role is equal to assigning the security profile or global security profile to responsibility in EBS. We'll come to know what exactly here. Okay, by using the security profile or organization security profile, we will be grouping the business units. By using this data role, what you will do is the grouped BUs, the BUs you will assign to job roles. When you assign one BU or multiple BUs to data role, that will become job role. That will become data role. When you assign BU to job role, but in our case, automatically system is creating the data roles, right? When you create the BU, automatically the BU will get assigned to payable supervisor, payables manager, payable specialist. That's what happening. But in this definition point of view, the data roles we will be creating through manual process. How? In normal system process, automatically BU will get assigned to job roles. Job roles are nothing but payables manager, payables specialist, supervisor. But in this concept, MOAC definition, so the BU manually will be assigned into the job role. The job role plus BU only we call as data role. This task manually we are going to do. That means we have to understand the point. Sorry. Okay, you have to understand the point. Data roles can be created in two ways. One is automatically system will create. Other way is user also can create data roles with the assignment of BU. That we'll see detail level. To test this functionality, what I'll do is I will create the user. Okay. So this data role we have to assign to this user. To synchronize all the changes, we'll run LDAP job. Then we'll test it. After running, we'll log into the user. Okay, so how many business units you grouped, whether you are able to access from that user with respect to role or not, we'll go and verify that. Okay, fine. So this is what we have to understand. This all comes under setups. First, we are going to create organization security profile. Then we'll create the data role. Data role creation is nothing but BU will be assigning to job roles. Where we have BU, what are the BUs we select into security profile? That security profile will be assigning to job role. Within the security profile we have BUs. That is the reason I am specifying here BUs will be assigning. Nothing but security profile we assign to job roles. Within the security profile we have BUs. Then we'll create user. The data role will assign to the user. We'll run the LDAP. Then we'll be testing whatever setups we are doing accordingly. We are able to access the system or not. Means specific to be used or not. First, we'll create the organization security profile. When you talk about organization security profile, this task is not related to finance or procurement or something else. It's a purely HCM related task. Okay, this task is HCM related task. When you look at our project, seems to somebody unmuted. I request you let them
Yeah,
to
yes, sir. Lakshman, I have a question, Lakshman. That's what I wanted.
please.
Okay. So my question is actually, for example, if we create a user, okay, already the user is created and already we have the data roles for that.
Yes.
Okay, after that, if we decided to set up some kind of security profile, is there any chance to edit or we have to go and create another user?
Yeah, I'll ask you one question here.
Okay.
In EBS, one
Uh-huh.
user require access to 3 operating nets. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Say like I'm not using the security profile. In that case, 3 responsibilities I'll create, 3 responsibilities I'll assign the separate operating nets. The 3
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities I'll assign to the user, right?
Yes.
Now I decided to create the security profile. I want to give access to user through single responsibility. In that case, what we do?
We will delete the responsibilities for existing user and we will create the new responsibility and we will assign that new responsibility,
That's
right?
it. That's it. Here, equal to responsibility, what we have, data roles we have, right?
Yes.
Now you will delete the data roles and the security
Mm-hmm.
profile will be assigned to the user. Here, data role will be assigned to the user. That's all. Same logic.
Okay. Okay. Same concept. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Lakshman.
Yeah. Thanks. Fine. Any questions? Fine. No. Okay. Let's proceed. So what we are discussing, this organization security profile, this task is not related to finance. This task is related to HCM. But when you look at our project, we don't have any HCM offering within our project. If you go and search for this task within our project, you cannot find. So here we have our project. Within our project, we don't have any offering related to HCM. So if I search for organization security profile, if I search for it, okay, we don't find any task within this. Reason, we don't have any HCM offering within our project. That is reason this task always, if already HCM is included in our project definition, you can search within the project. Otherwise, search for this task from outside of the project. Outside of the project means functional setup manager homepage. Click on done. We'll be back to FSM homepage. This is FSM homepage. Search for the task from here. Since we don't have HCM selection in our project, we are doing from here. Otherwise, you can find from the project only. Okay. So this is a task which we have to perform. Manage organization security profile. Click on this. This is equal to security profile or global security profile in EBS. Okay, done. Now click on create. Here you can give the name. Okay, fusion. Say now, to understand the concept, now by default we have access to many BUs, right? I want to access only one BU because of common set we are able to access all. I want to give access to only one BU, or else you can select 2 BUs as per your requirement. I'll go with uh, okay, fusion 1 BU security profile. I'm giving the name. Fine. Now here, enable secure by organization classification. Here click on add to select classification. Which classification of organizations you want to group? BUs you want to group. Select classification as a business unit. Now you can group which business units you want to group. Here enable secure by organizations list, then click on add. Now you can list out one or multiple BUs into this security profile. See, by default we are getting all. There is no control as a security profile, global security profile, however we have in EBS. Search for your BU. Classification is mandatory. First you have to give classification. then only you can search with the actual organization name. Since we didn't create multiple business units, I'm selecting only one. Anyway, now by default we are able to access to multiple BUs. Now I want to restrict the access to only BU, or else if you have multiple BUs, you may add here. One more or two more you may add in this list. It's all about your grouping. I'm grouping only one for now. Then say save and close. So same as EBS security profile only we are defining. Okay, security profile is created. Done. Now we have to create the data role. Data role means security profile will assign to job role. Just now we created security profile. That security profile will assign to job role. When we are assigning the security profile to job role, it's nothing but we are assigning one or multiple BUs to job role. Okay, that is the meaning, because within the security profile we have one BU. That means the one BU we are assigning. Within the security profile, if you have 10 BUs, that means you are assigning 10 BUs to one job role. Then that will become data role, right? So data role we have to create. The task also you can perform from here only, because that is also HCM related task. Search with the data role, not roles. Okay, this is the task name, manage data role under security profile. Okay, that means security profile we are going to assign to job role, that is going to become data role. Just click on this task. Any doubt or any clarification required, please stop and ask me. Click on create. Here I'll be naming as Fusion 1BU data role. Fine. The security profile, whatever you created, that you want to assign to which job role, that you can select here. So I want to assign to, say, accounts payable supervisor. I selected to which job role. In case of EBS, you will be assigning the security profile to responsibility. In EBS, security profile will assign to responsibility, but here the security profile will assign to job role. Then automatically the job role will become data role, because we assign the security profile. Within that we have BUs that will be assigning to user. Then click on next. Okay, we are going to assign our security profile to this job role. Okay, this is a job role we selected. Here, person security profile, just click on this and just go with some new naming convention to enable what you need. Fusion BU means, that means BU wise organization we have different classification, on what base what you are going to control, what access you are going to control. The BU, so I given Fusion BU based security we are going to build with the security profile, this data role definition. So select secure by business unit. So write any name you can provide, relevant one, and select secure by business unit, then click on next. Since you selected secure by business units, so in which business unit you have in which security profile you have business unit, all those security profiles you can access and you can select here. So the same is system is enabling secure business units, so you can select here your security profile here. So Fusion 1BU security profile, within that we have business units only, that is the reason it is getting displayed here. If you don't have any business units within this, you may not see this. That means you selected here the security profile, means this security profile you are assigning to this job role. That is the actual logic how it works. That simply we are assigning the security profile to this job role. That's all. Now just click on next, then say submit, or else you may go with review. I think we are in the review only, then submit it. Okay, now this data role we have to assign to user created. Any question?
Lakshman, one question about the person. What is the person?
See, that person means nothing but a user. For user, what kind of privileges on what base, how you want to restrict the security for the user. That's what they given. Because the security profile more into HCM also, very relevantly they given that the title like that can be used for any purpose. But just they name it as person because any access will be granted to person only, employee only. That is the meaning of it. Okay, fine. So now we'll go and create the user. Because if you assign to this current user, it will conflict because we have a separate roles which we assign to this user, right? So to understand this functionality, let's go and create the separate. Sorry, from here you can do it. Okay. So to understand this functionality, we'll create separate user, we'll assign so that it will be more clear for us in terms of understanding. Go to IDM to create the new user. Just click on administration. Then say create. Just give me 1 second. Thank you. Sorry, there is some call. Okay, here just name also I'll give as Fusion USBU. Means we are going to access to only one BU, so accordingly I'm giving the name also. Select organization. Click on go. Select. Say add. And provide username. Username also I'm giving the same Fusion USBU. Because based on current configuration, you can access to only USBU. So that is the reason just I selected that. Now here you can set the password. Then click on save. Sorry. Now go to roles. Then go to assign. Okay. So now you can search for Fusion. This is what we defined. This is the data role. Fusion 1BU data role. Assign this. And with this, you can assign employee also, so that you can run the any request required. Employee role also I'm assigning. Now see the point. I'm going to assign. I'll show you the point here. Say payables. 1 second. Payable. Fusion. US business unit, right? So I'm going to assign this role also. Just I'll explain you the point. I'm going to assign this role also. Accounts payable super user US business unit. So this business unit, within this business unit, you have access to common set. Even you have within this, since you created security profile, system will take the precedence of security profile only. If you take simple concept, when you create the primary ledger in GL, automatically system will create the data roles. You may assign your primary ledger to responsibility in R12. Okay, you may assign your primary ledger to responsibility by using the GL ledger name profile option, but still system will give the high priority to whatever the security profile, whatever the data access set. I'm sorry, I think I explained the wrong way. So whenever you create the primary ledger in R12 or Fusion, based on primary ledger, automatically will create the data access set. Okay, system will create the data access set. Even if you assign your primary ledger to responsibility by using GL ledger name profile option R12, and system will be defaulting the same primary ledger name to data access set. That is nothing but it's data access set only. System will create automatically. So when we assign the data access set and primary ledger to any GL responsibility in EBS, but system will give the priority to only data access set, not to primary ledger. We know that. The same way this logic also will work. Now this is a standard role which system created, but this is what we created with the concept called security profile and the custom data role, whatever we created. Now even if you assign this to this user, system is not going to touch, system is not going to give the privileges based on this. Even it is their common set or any other set, it is not going to look at that. System will go with only this. That we are going to understand now. Okay, it will ignore this. To make you to understand, I am adding this point. Okay, so whatever we have within this, that is the priority system will be always taking. Okay, we assign to this user. Now I'm just going to run this LDAP to update this assignment. Go to tools and submit schedule process. LDAP, LDAP. Job name is retrieve latest LDAP changes. Then click on OK.
Lakshman, this is Venkat.
Submit. Yeah, Venkat. And close it.
Yeah.
Yeah, proceed.
Yes. Lakshman, we have taken the job role, standard job role, right? And we assigned our data access set, whatever the data access set we defined it.
Data access, no. Data access, no. Security profile.
Security
profile we assigned to job role.
Job role.
Combination with data role. That data role we assigned to the user. This is what we did. Now you can ask me what is your question.
Yeah, this job role, Oracle has provided the standard job roles, right?
Job roles Oracle provided, yes.
Can we suppose if I want to use the same for multiple operating units for the same job role, can I prepare the separate job role, or we have to assign in the same job role only multiple multiple security setups, multiple BUs security setup we have to assign over there in the same job role?
No, I didn't get your question. What is the requirement? Tell me. Multiple views. What exactly you want to use? Job role you want to use? Data role you want to use? What exactly?
Because the combination of the job role, what is that? Security role and the BU, we are
Security role what
assigning to the
again?
job role.
Security profile you are talking?
No, I'm talking about the job role.
Okay, we have three job roles for payables, right? Payables
Right,
manager,
right,
supervisor, and specialist. This is clear.
right,
Now, what is your point?
right.
And one more point. One
Can
more.
we
Let
prepare?
1 second. Let me include one more point. Three roles we have. If you create one BU, it will be creating
Hmm,
three job roles. So three data roles. Sorry, right?
right,
We have three
right.
job roles. When you create one BU, it will create three data roles. If you create one more BU, it will create three more data roles. If you create one more BU, it will create three more. Now three BUs means nine data roles system will create. This is how it works. Now what is your question?
Okay, okay. Now I'm clear.
That's what.
Because see that job roles, it is multiplying based on the
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
right.
that's what you are
Okay.
asking for multiple BUs how you can use. For each BU, it will
Right,
create
right,
separate definition.
right, right. Thank you.
Fine, thanks. So fine, it is taking some time, not an issue. Just will log out from this
Lakshman,
video. Yeah, please.
Lakshman, actually, when we are creating the BU, it will generate the roles based on the BU name.
Data roles.
But we are
Yes, data roles.
data roles. But we are assigning the a security profile for seeded, which was provided by Oracle. For those things, we are assigning the security profile. How it will synchronize, like for particular particular BU?
Particular BU only we are assigning, right? In the security profile, what we have?
There we are giving the BU that I
BU,
understand
that's
that.
it. See, by simple point. By default, one BU can be assigned to one job role. But
Okay.
with the security profile, multiple BUs you can assign to one job role. That's the logic. That's all. In EBS, one BU, one operating to are assigned to responsibility with, if you don't mind, you can mute. I can hear some noise. Okay, in EBS, we can assign one operating to responsible by using the secure MO operating net profile option. If I want to assign multiple operating nets to one BU, one responsibility, I'll use the MO security profile option. By using MO security profile option, I can assign the security profile to responsibility. Here also logic is same. Here without profile option, we are able to do it. There with profile option also only. Still any question, please? Because we are assigning, that's how system will recognize. System will provision the access to one or multiple BUs to that particular role what you are assigning. You can create a number of data roles based on your requirement, but by default, for one BU, system will create three roles only. But more than three, if you need access and all, you can create. Even we can create the custom job roles also. That I'll be covering. Okay, that also we have.
Lakshman, one
Yeah.
clarification.
Yeah.
We have two BUs and like we have multiple data roles. So if we want to restrict,
Multiple data roles we have. Okay.
yeah. So let's say for one user, I want to give access to only one BU. So I
Okay.
can just give one data role, and for another user, I can give both data roles.
That
Like
okay. You have multiple
if
data
it
roles
is
for
multiple
payables.
responsibility.
No. See, you have
Yes.
multiple data roles for payables. Take
Yes.
simple example. By default, system will create three data roles, and you created 10 more data roles by using this security profile concept. Fine. Total 13 you have. Simple
No,
example.
let's not go. And let's say we have two BUs.
Two BUs you
So
have.
for payable, it creates three data roles for
Yeah.
each BU.
Correct.
So if for one user without the security profile,
Hmm.
can I limit access to the users by BU?
You have to answer
Like
to
operator.
this. You have to answer to this. Can you do or
Mm-hmm.
not? Can we do or not? If you don't mind, just I'm asking this question. Can we do or not? We
Then,
discussed. We discussed common set,
okay,
right?
common set at BU level.
Yeah, common set BU level. Use it. How many BUs you want to grouping,
Yeah,
right?
without the, let's say, both have the same common, at the BU level, we have the common set.
Common. In that case,
But
only the option is security profile you have to create by grouping that. That's it.
okay, means like,
Yeah, first point is you can manage this BU security with the common set. I mean to say
no,
reference data set. I don't call it as common set. Common set is the one which we are using. Okay, you can just control the access privileges through reference data set. Say you use a common set for everything. In that case, with the reference data set, you cannot do anything. Only the option is security profile. Or else you implemented a solution with the help of reference data set only. In that case, you no need to come to reference security profile. But whatever the reference data set used for BUs as per your requirement, that may conflict in some other requirements. In that case, that you can override by using the security profile.
okay, means I'm trying to understand, is there a equivalent to MO operating unit at the responsibility level?
No, MO operating is equal to what system is creating the data role. That's it.
Okay,
That is a default MO operating you call it as. We don't have something like default operating it we have
okay,
in EBS, but it's something default and just you cannot undo that. Something like that.
but if we have common data set at the
Hmm.
both BU, then the user can access both BUs.
You both user can access both BUs. You can override by using security profile, right?
Okay, so we have to make sure we have a restricted security profile
Yeah.
according to our.
You have two BUs. Two BUs use the common set, for example. Now, if you assign
Mm-hmm.
one BU related data roles to one user, even you assign one BU related data roles to one user, the user can have access to two BUs because whatever the BU assigned to the user, that user is able to access to common set. The same common set you have another BU access also. Even you are not assigning.
Okay. So
Okay.
it's mandatory that
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
to
yeah.
design
Yeah,
the reference data set.
in that case, if you want to limit the access to one BU only, even you use the same common set for two BUs, create security profile and use assign to user. Now the almost same we are doing, same example we are doing now, right?
Okay.
The current
Thank you.
scenario,
Yeah.
just we have access to multiple BUs, right? By default, we have access
Mm-hmm.
to multiple BUs if you go to Invoice Workbench. Just now, I shown before coming to the setups, right? We have access to multiple
Yes.
BUs. Now, I'm going to restrict to only one BU.
Okay.
Yep, fine.
Yeah, it's a new concept, but once we
Yeah, we
keep
have
doing
to
it, we'll.
understand. Yeah, no issues. We can have good discussion here. Fine. Done. So here username I given as Fusion USBU. Password I given something. Now we have to reset the password. And submit. Okay, now for this user, just we have given access to only payable supervisor, only to the payable supervisor. Okay, see here, if I go to this section, I cannot go to function setup manager, right? Sorry, I cannot go to function setup manager from this user. Reason, for this user we didn't assign any roles which will give access to project creations and configuration, nothing but payable what I can say, application implementation consultant role we didn't assign, as well as IT security manager also. So no setups you can do from this user, only you can work on the process, that too payables as a supervisor. So this is what we'll get because of the role which we assign, but these all are by default you will get for any user. And here you are able to see schedule process because we assign employee role also. Now see, I'll go to the invoices workbench. You can find the difference. See here, recent invoices or holds or prepayments, everything. If you look at that, nothing, because within this we didn't create anything till now. Go to create invoice, click on this business units, you can see only one BU. Even if you go to search also, you cannot get it. And for testing and your understanding point only, I added another data role which is created by system only. Accounts payables supervisor fusion US business unit also assigned. Through that you have access to secure common set, but here our security profile is restricting. Security profile only take first precedence. Okay, clear, right? You can select and you can record the invoice. Any questions on this? In the security profile, if you take two BUs, yes, here you can see only two BUs. But we selected one BU. This is how you can restrict. One is the BU definition time. With the help of reference data set, you can restrict. You can go with the logic how you want to give the privilege to access the BUs. You may build by current requirement. Later, if you want to override anytime, always we have option called as security profile. Any questions on this, please? From this, I can see only one. But if I go to our current actual user, which you are using, you can access to everything. Okay, fusion. For this user also we given only data roles related to fusion US business unit only, but that is connecting to common set. How many BUs are connected with the common set? All BUs we can access from here. That's it. This is what we have to understand from this. This is a known concept for us from EBS, but here we are trying to understand how it can be done, and we are just testing the result. That's all. Any questions on this, please? Otherwise, we'll proceed to next concept. So see, this is the reason you are able to see all the invoices which are related to other BUs also, because our BU, within our BU is a common set. The same common set is used by how many BUs? All those BUs we have access. That is the reason we are able to see other BUs related invoices information also. But if you go to just now whatever user we created, from there you don't see other invoices. Only our BU invoices you can see. Fine. Any question on this?
Lakshman, one question.
Yep.
Lakshman, how do you?
I can hear some noise, Ram, because I'm sorry for that. Okay, if there is some noise, I cannot take the questions. Still, if you have some questions and all, you can call me after the class. I'll be available, because we are recording the sessions and many participants are there. So that is only the concern. Otherwise, I should allow everyone. Please. If you are in the right place, any n number of questions, I don't have objection. But if you have some background noise, or generally yes, that happens, I can understand. But thing is, let's just take this point into consideration. Okay. Any question, like if you are not in the right environment where you don't have noise and all, you may not ask question now. You can ask me. You can call me and you can ask me. I don't have objection. Will be winding up the session by 9. After 9, you can call me. I'll be answering. And really, if you want to ask the questions, you just get ready with the right environment. Then I don't have objection to answer any question. Please take this as a request. This is a request to everyone. I am not saying, I am not passing some rules here. Sorry to say this.
Lakshman, this is Malik here.
Malik, please.
I want to understand, I think it is quite clear, but I just wanted to understand that if you manage through your reference data set what you want, then do you, do you have to do the security profile? Or
Not required, not required. If you want to manage with your reference data set, okay, you don't need to do it. Say you have 10 BUs. Let me take simple example. You have a 10 BUs, and your requirement is you don't want to allow some other BU users to, you don't want to give access to 2-3 BUs for someone. So in that case, create 10 reference data sets. Okay, 10 reference data sets. When you are creating the BU1, use BU1 reference data set, BU2, BU2 separately. Now you are running the business. Now you got the requirement. You want to access 3 BUs. You want to give access to one user to 3 BUs. One user require access to 3 BUs. In that case, what you can do? In EBS, we can assign 3 responsibility to the user. To simplify that, we are creating the security profile. We are assigning through one responsibility. User will be able to access to multiple OUs from single responsibility in EBS. In the same way, here also, if one user need access to 3 BUs, here you have to assign 3 data roles to the user. If you don't like to assign 3 data roles separately for one user, then create security profile by grouping 3 business units and create one data role, assign one data roles to user. From single data role, user can have access to 3 BUs instead of accessing through 3 different data roles. That's it. Got it? Malik?
Sure. That was very good, actually. That was very good explanation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Fine. So I'm not saying it's mandatory how to create security profile. You can manage with your common set also. If you think instead of going with the multiple data roles, if you want to have a single data role for multiple BUs access, accordingly you can create security profile and you can do it. That's all. Okay. So that's all about security profile, or call it as MOAC. Fine, done. And we'll go to the next concept. It's a very simple one. So we'll see from where to create the holds and how to place the holds, how to release. We know, like, basically, okay, let me take this point here, then we'll talk about it. Holds and release reasons. This is the same as ABS, no change. If you have invoice, basically holds are basically classification wise 2 types, right? Like holds are 2 types, and system hold and manual holds. Okay, system holds and manual holds. So what is the use of hold? So I'm creating an invoice. I created invoice, validated, it's ready for payment, but I got a message from my manager asking me to hold this invoice from the payment since we have some issue with the supplier or something else. So in that case, simply I can go and select, so place the hold on the invoice. If hold is placed on the invoice, that invoice cannot be selected for payment, and I can release it. If I am placing the hold through manual process as a user, if I am going to place the hold on the invoice, system will allow us to release that hold. Manual holds can be released by user. But when you are working on the invoice, if I take simple example, okay, see, we know the condition like header and the line and distribution amount should be equal. Okay, distribution amount should be equal to all the lines amount should be equal to invoice header. If that is not true, okay, it's not matching, when you try to submit for validation, system will identify the variance and it will be placing on hold. The invoice will be placed on hold. If it is get placed on the invoice is placed on hold, you cannot take that invoice for any further process. So in that case, what only the solution is, we have to correct what's wrong with that invoice. Okay, system will be placing the hold. That only we call as system hold. When system places the hold, generally we have to go on to correct it, what is the wrong with that invoice. Then once again you have to submit for validation, then only system will be releasing that hold. That means most of the system holds can be released by system, but certain system roles also manually we can release. That depends on what type of issue that is. But generally Manual holds are placed by user and can be released by manual process user only. System holds will be placed by system and can be released by system. And you can set the holds at supplier level also. Simply you can go and set for particular supplier site, hold all the invoices. System will allow us to create invoices, but it will place all the invoices by default on hold. Maybe there may be some your business case, some situation may demands to place all the supplier invoice on hold, or else manually you can go specific invoice and you can place on the hold. That's how by placing the hold you can restrict the invoice from the payment or further process. So why you are placing the hold, and what reason you are placing the hold, and what reason you are releasing the hold, you can create in the system as a hold names under release reasons. We'll go and just create one hold name under release reason, and we'll just quickly will test the same functionality in the system, then we'll jump into the next concept. So to do any setups, we have to go to project, setup and maintenance, go to implementation project, click on overview, just search with the term called as holds. So this is the task name, manage invoice holds under releases. Okay, here click on go to task icon. And click on create. We are going to create, these all are just predefined holds we have. Hold type, I'm just going to create invoice hold reason. Just I'll give the prefix as a fusion. Vendor issue. Okay, or I'll say issue with vendor. Sorry, issue with vendor. So that we may place hold when we have some issue or some legal issue or some other issue with the vendor, so that we'll stop that, we'll place hold so that payment will get stopped. Once the issue is resolved, then you can take it to next step. So in that case, if you place this hold, system has to allow you for accounting or not. In the same way, so the hold can be released through manual process or not. Yes, there should be provision to release through manual process. So then you can say save and close. So hold name we created, and when you place this hold again, when we are releasing, there should be some reason why you are releasing. The release name, you can just go with invoice release reason. With what reason you may release the hold on which is placed on invoice. I'll just prefix as a fusion. I'll say issue resolved. Whatever the issue we have with that supplier that got resolved, take that as a example and say save and close. Done. This is how you can create a number of hold reasons under release reasons. Now we'll go and create invoice and we'll place the hold and we'll see the process. Go to invoice workbench, create invoice. Anyway, further we'll be testing different invoices. Right, we set remit to supplier as a different as a default. Let's go and remove it. It won't impact in the current case scenario what we are testing, but future will be having some scenarios. It may impact in those cases. Anyway, we tested, so I'm going to remove that. At standard supplier level, we given remit to supplier as a default. Right, that's what I'm going to remove. Better anything, once you do the testing, the special case, the supplier, you can remove it so that there won't be any further testing issues. Just open the supplier, go to sites, click on edit, go to invoices, invoicing. I'm going to remove this default. System will open the field since we enabled as override at invoice and a payment through invoice and payment options, but it won't select anything. If you want to select, you can select, otherwise ignore it. Done. Now we'll proceed with this. We'll go and create invoice. But whatever I just now just unchecked, no relevance with the current case which you are going to test. But the expectation of future, somewhere it may reflect. That's the reason I removed. Fine. Let's go and create one invoice. Say create invoice. So invoice number is 2. So $5,000. There also 5,000. Now if you go to this manage installments, you don't see remit to supplier as defaulting since we unchecked. Otherwise here it will be default, right? We know that. Okay, fine. Now we just created this invoice, and okay, you can just validate and you can do everything. And after that, if you want to just place any hold on this invoice, this stage or after validating and accounting, any point of time, if you want to place the hold on this invoice, just go to manage holds, invoice actions, manage holds, click on add. Here you can select for what reason you want to place the hold. We given prefix as a fusion, so easily we can find it. Yep, here we have fusion issue with vendor. Okay, if you want to write some details, you can just click on this and you can write it. This is how just you can simply place the hold. Your system is showing manual hold is 1. So I'm trying to validate, it is not happening. The reason, there is some hold placed on invoice before validation. Otherwise you can validate, then you can place the hold, then there won't be an issue. It's all about how you are going to manage. It works in that way. Now okay, we place the hold and say the issue got resolved. I'll just release this hold. So this is a hold reason, hold section. This is a release section. So release, what reason you are going to release it? Because the issue with the vendor is resolved. If you want to write more details here, click on this and you can write, then say save and close. Now here you can see there is no hold, then system will allow you to perform the validation or any other action. Sorry, by mistake I clicked on apply prepayment. Without validation we cannot do it, right? If there is some prepayment. So click on validate. I think we didn't save it. You have to save this. Okay, it's validated. It was working, but by mistake system is showing that error message. Okay, it's already validated. Done. Now you can go with the accounting and post ledger. The rest of process remains same. Okay, if you want to set default holds for the each and every invoice which you create against particular supplier level, also you can go and set it up, same as EBS. That's how we can manage related to holds. Okay, so we have seen how to create and how to assign, how it will impact. It's already around 9 o'clock. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, we can wind up the session for today. We'll connect tomorrow. Okay. I'll just make sure that without any delays in the sessions, I'll be taking the classes every day, Monday to Friday. Fine. So, any questions on today's session or on previous sessions, or when you are practicing in the system, you may get some doubt based on your practice. So at least that kind of questions. But I suggest to do the practice. It's as a mandatory. Otherwise, even if you're attending these sessions, if you don't touch system at least once or twice, so nothing, no learning you have to treat. It will be like it will be everything on the fly. So please, at least if you have time, I'm not telling like yes, it's like you don't know and all. No, yes, just I'm passing some message at least for the people who can take it. Okay, at least you try to practice once or twice, then that would be really good experience with this learning. Otherwise, just will be completing again and future again when you are practicing. If you get some doubts and all, maybe you may have interest, may not have interest to speak to me, but I'll be available. So that is the reason I am just asking. Now itself you can do one level of testing. Okay, one time at least you can test all this whatever we are trying in the system. That would be really good experience. And second time when we are working in the project and all, it will become just cakewalk for you to do again setups or testing, and then you can jump into the real project. Fine. And of course it's not a great learning for us because we know EBS very well. Just we have to at least see how these things can be done in this vision with a few simple updates or changes or new functionalities. Any questions? Any questions on this from today's session or previous sessions?
Lakshmana, Lokesh here.
Lokesh, please.
Recently, Instant got updated. Actually, I did till operating unit creation.
When
but
you
now
when you accessed your instance last time?
Last time, after actually till the payment.
I got it. Yes, you accessed it a week back, I guess. Yes, refreshed.
Oh,
yeah.
Then I need to do from beginning.
Yes. A simple task, right? You can do it. No, not an issue. I informed very clearly. Monthly once it will get refreshed. That cycle reached and they did it. But make sure that you will do all the setups a bit fast track and you can complete all those things. Again, within maybe 3 weeks, again it will get refreshed.
Okay.
Yeah. Because refresh around 10 days back. That means you practiced 10 days back.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So even for class also again I configured everything with the same naming convention. I did configuration once again.
Okay.
Fine, done. Any other?
Yesterday's and today's you will get it right.
Any questions from others? Any questions? Okay, you can suggest me if you want to give some suggestions in terms of my explanation or some the way or whatever. I'm ready to take your suggestions. I can, if that is a really good suggestion, I can implement for these classes. So whatever I feel it's good, I'm just going in that way. If you have some good suggestions you can give me, I'm ready to implement with all others acceptance. Okay. Any questions, please? If no questions, we can wind up the session for today. Anyway, I'll be just available in the call for 5 more minutes. Meantime, if you get any question, you can ask me. Otherwise, just we can leave this session for now.
Sir Rajendra here. I would like to talk to you on the phone.
Yeah, please call me up. Yeah, please call me after this. Maybe after 9:10 you can call me.
I'll give you a call around 10 o'clock. Thank you, sir.
9:10, 10 o'clock again. I'll be in the other class.
Okay, then I'll give you a call at
Yeah,
9:10.
9:10, please. Thank you.
Lakshman,
Yeah, Venkat.
Venkat, this side.
Yeah.
See, this chart window, we are not able to see it. It means you are not allowing to
Correct,
do the
Venkat.
charting, or
Yeah. We got some issues because of that, which is very unfavored to us, first of all. So that is the reason. Just
okay, fine, no
we
problem.
intentionally we did.
No, what I thought in my login, it's
No.
it's removed, or
No, from our side we disabled it.
okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that, because there are some issues and all. That's the reason we removed that. Any questions? Fine, seems to no questions. Just I'm going to wind up the session for today. Okay. Then see you tomorrow. Have a good day and good night. Thank you.